Let's roll, baby. Welcome into the Ringer Sunday pregame. We got all the winners, all the action in this post-Thanksgiving feast with the wise guys. Let's welcome in the fellas, shall we? John Jastremski alongside cousin Sal in Los Angeles. Joe House, who looks like he's ready for Studio 54 or South Beach, wherever it might be. Schnazzy as always. Smooth. Raheem the Dream Palmer in Las Vegas. Boys, we'll get to the Sunday action. We have our wise wagers. We have man's best bet. The competitions are through the roof. But we had 4 monstrous games between Thanksgiving and Black Friday. Joe House, rumor has it, you were on the chopping block for Ringer 107. This was a make or break, win or go home pick. And you went home a winner with the Packers. So job well done.
Well, the good thing is I didn't hear the rumor. I heard about it afterwards. But yes, Bill Simmons and I, in trying to formulate our card for Thanksgiving and the Friday game, he was inclined to take Detroit. I vehemently disagreed. We went with Green Bay, and the game kind of played out the way that I imagined, which was Green Bay kind of dominating the trenches, being able to get some pressure on Goff. And Detroit is now in trouble. We have a segment today. We're going to talk about who's going to make the playoffs and who's not, but Detroit on the outside looking in.
No question. They'll have a monstrous game on Thursday against Raheem and Sal's Dallas Cowboys, the resurgent Dallas Cowboys, after they take down the Kansas City Chiefs and the Philadelphia Eagles in basically the span of 5 days. And Raheem, there was buyer's remorse in the Ringer 107 for me and you, not including the Green Bay Packers. Wish we would have pushed back on our gal Ariel Epstein with the Chiefs. Raheem, the Cowboys are cooking.
Yeah. Slight correction with what you said earlier. I'm not in Las Vegas. I'm currently in Philadelphia right now. Came home for Thanksgiving, and it's great to see because the Philadelphia Eagles lost the other day, and my Dallas Cowboys won. I mean, Dallas is playing out of their minds. I mean, you saw the defensive changes that they made. They traded for Quentin Williams, and they shut down the Chiefs in the second and the third quarter, and Dak Prescott is playing out of his mind. He had the interception on the first drive of the game, but besides that, he had 2 touchdowns, 8.2 yards per play, and a 59% passing success rate. And if you look at the Dallas Cowboys, at the beginning of the year, myself and Joe House said Dak Prescott gives this Cowboys team a very high floor. Their win total closed at 6.5 after the Micah Parsons trade. They're just 1 win away from cashing that, and hopefully they get it next week against the Detroit Lions.
Well, you can take this to the bank, Raheem. You will be cashing that over 6.5. Dallas very much alive as far as the NFC playoff picture is concerned. Sal, there was one more game on Thanksgiving night. Joe Burrow returned for the Cincinnati Bengals, but the Ravens, they look lost. I mean, from Lamar Jackson turning the ball over to Derrick Henry not having the same boost. I mean, they made the Bengal defense look good, for goodness sakes.
I know, JJ. I couldn't even enjoy, like Raheem, the Cowboys win for like 20 minutes. Good thing I wasn't vomiting up cranberry stuffing. The Cowboys came through. They look great. And then I have the Ravens. I have a favorite. God forbid I take a teaser with the Ravens. They have to win. They didn't look good, so then I bounced back with the Eagles the next day on a team. Like, I get these perennial playoff teams are just not coming through for me. 4-0, the underdogs go. Are we going to see the same thing today, JJ? I can't have it. Got to bounce back.
We'll find out. Listen, speaking of teams that did us dirty, Raheem, you're in the city of brotherly love. My mistake on that. I apologize. I'm wearing the Kelly green or the Masters green. I saw a whole lot of bets go down Friday in backing the Philadelphia Eagles, who lose outright to the Chicago Bears. And there have been a lot of questions about the Bears and whether or not they're a legitimate team. I think they flexed with the way they were able to run the ball on Philly's defense. But what's going on with Jalen Hurts? I don't care about the garbage touchdown he threw late to A.J. Brown. You just don't have the same pop and sizzle within that Eagle offense. Then you have me, Sal, fighting with the analytics community when I'm sick to my stomach that the Eagles don't go and kick the extra point. I had every nerd from MIT and Harvard and all of them coming at me because guess what? They should have kicked the extra point and extended the game. I don't care what Greg Olson has to say. But, boys, there you have it. Happy Thanksgiving. Happy Black Friday. Let's get to the Sunday card. Let's not waste any time. Wise wagers still to come. Our man's best bet still to come. We'll have the family meal for anytime touchdowns. Marquee game of the day. Let's hit it with a bang. It's the Buffalo Bills, who are laying 3.5 in Pittsburgh, fracturing the left wrist for Aaron Rodgers. Total of this game is at 46.5. And, Sal, this game specifically from a Buffalo standpoint, with Kansas City losing, with the Ravens losing, with the uncertainty that you have within the AFC with these unknown teams, Indianapolis an unknown, New England all of a sudden an unknown, Denver an unknown.
Yeah.
If you're a fan of the Buffalo Bills, aren't you sitting there saying to yourself, if I can't get to the Super Bowl this year with the way this conference is kind of opened up, when in the world is it going to happen? Well, if it's going to happen, they need a win. They need it in the absolute worst way against the Steelers. Are they going to get it?
No doubt about it. FanDuel has them still as a monster favorite to advance to the playoffs. But yeah, JJ, you're right. We're looking at Allen, Lamar, Mahomes, and obviously Burrow. 2, 3 of those guys don't make the playoffs. Are you kidding me? That can't be. Kudos to the NFL. We had such great matchups, right? Thursday and Friday. You would think there'd be stinkers all across the board. This is a good one. There's a few other good ones. The Colts are a good one. I am staying away. First things first, Sal Steelers special, way overdue. Bills first half, Steelers win the game, plus 900. Secondly, I think this is a really tough game. The Bills have not looked good in a while. I know they handled the Bucs, but they ran all over them. Not completely sold on the Steelers in this spot. Weird to think that they're looking ahead to the Ravens game when every game is a must-win. So I think the way to play this is the Steelers to score 3 or more touchdowns. The Bills' defense has not been great. They've allowed 3 touchdowns to 3 of their last 4 opponents. Steelers themselves have scored in 3 of the last 4 games. They've had 3 or more touchdowns. This is a good one, 28-24. Rodgers and the Steelers hit pay dirt 3 or more times versus Bills defense, 30th against the run. Maybe another good Kenneth Gainwell game house. Steelers over 2.5 touchdowns, my play here.
I thought about this house as a potential Buffalo play. Then I saw the injury report on Thursday. Both tackles out for Buffalo. Deion Dawkins, who's one of the best left tackles in all football, not going to play. And look, I don't think the Steeler D is going to bring to the table the same sort of problems that we saw Houston bring on a Thursday night. But I can see why a lot of people are looking at this game specifically and saying, hey, kitchen sink spot for the Steelers, a Mike Tomlin rah-rah special for the Steelers. House, is this an underdog play for Pittsburgh?
Yeah, I think it has to be. And the main reason for me is just how mediocre Buffalo has been on the road, really for the last 2.5, 3 seasons. Since the start of 2023, 11-12 straight up on the road, the Buffalo Bills. And look at how they performed this year on the road. They have 5 road games, and they lost pretty convincingly to Atlanta, Miami, and Houston on the road. Now, Houston, you can certainly understand, but losses to Atlanta and Miami, and it looked like Buffalo had a hard time getting their offense going. This is, to the Steelers side of things, that classic spot. We can go through all of the Tomlin numbers. From week 5 forward, his team is home underdog of 7 or less, 19-5-1 against the spread, and they tend to win those games outright. So this is, to me, a Steelers play or nothing. But really, if you want to get inside the X's and O's, it's going to be the ability of the Pittsburgh Steelers to run the ball with that 2-headed monster now, Kenneth Gainwell and Jaylen Warren, against this Bills defense that's super susceptible to the run. And that's going to have to be the way for Pittsburgh to pull it off.
Okay, Raheem, total for this game is at 46.5. House hit on the fact that Buffalo's defense, problematic. Steeler defense all year, underwhelming. You think we have a shootout despite maybe some cold weather in the Steel City?
Well, I really can't play an over on this game because I just don't know what we're going to get from Aaron Rodgers. And I do expect a run-heavy game plan from the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think you could be looking at Jaylen Warren. I think you could be also looking at Kenneth Gainwell props. But I think House hit on it correctly. I mean, you look at the Steelers, this should be a prime rah-rah Mike Tomlin spot. I mean, Mike Tomlin, 65, 36, and 4. That's 64% as an underdog, including 22, 8, and 3, 73.3% as a home underdog. So this is one of those prime Mike Tomlin spots. And you look at the fact that the Bills, they can't stop the run. They're also missing 2 of their tackles. It looks like this Bills team is kind of in trouble. So it's going to depend on Josh Allen to pull a rabbit out of the hat in order to go on the road to get this done in Pittsburgh. But I just don't know what you're going to get from Aaron Rodgers, and that's what's keeping me off of this game.
Very, very tough game to handicap. Not surprised, all 4 of us not getting involved when it comes to a wise wager. Well, rumor has it the next game features not just one, but two wise wagers. I can't wait to watch this game. The Houston Texans, after their tremendous Thursday night win, the return of C.J. Stroud at quarterback, Texans getting 3 in Indianapolis. Colts yucked up that game against the Chiefs last week. Then you get this random story that comes out of nowhere. It's a slow Thursday. We're waiting for the Thanksgiving games to start, and I read a Rappaport tweet that Daniel Jones has a fracture in his fibia. What gives here? Now you go up against the Houston Texan defense. Anything but ideal. Now, we have a great race for our Wise Wager trophy. These three gentlemen are all neck and neck, and I'm holding up the rear. But, hey, I am contributing in more ways than one. We'll get to that when Man's Best Bet rolls around. And I thought about this as a potential Man's Best Bet. But Raheem Palmer, red hot. Muy caliente, as we like to say, with the Wise Wagers. You got one for the Texans and the Colts. What's it going to be?
I'm going to go with the Houston Texans +3. Now, this line has been bent down from +4.5 to +3. I don't care. I think the Texans are going to win this game outright. And you look at this Texans defense. They're second in DVOA, second in defensive EPA per play, and third in success rate. Well, they're taking on Daniel Jones. And a lot of people will say, oh, Daniel Jones, he's had a great season. He's 7th in EPA per play and 5th in success rate. Well, over the last 3 games, he's been garbage. He's been hot trash. You're talking about 25th in EPA per play plus completion over expectation, 19th in success rate, and his completion percentage has gone down from 71% to 65%. But more importantly, he has just 4 touchdowns to 4 interceptions and 6 fumbles. Well, now you got to go against Will Anderson, who has had sacks in 6 straight games. So this Texans defense is downright dominant, and we know Daniel Jones is banged up and not playing his best football. I mean, they're holding teams to 16.5 points per game. You look at what this Texans defense did to Matthew Stafford. You look at what they did to Josh Allen. How is Daniel Jones going to handle this? So I like the Houston Texans in this game. I think they're going to win this game outright. I know somebody is against me, but he get this wrong, I'm passing them up for first place.
Well, that's what I love about the stakes here. Sal and Raheem neck and neck. We are not going to have a family play on this particular game, Sally boy.
No.
Not so fast, my friend. You like the home team. Explain why you're on Indianapolis.
We are not having a family play. I'm 8-4 now with my best bets, thanks to the Lions, who took a dump on my betting portfolio last week. I'm going to bounce back with, I'm thinking, the most unpopular team on the betting board, weirdly enough, the Indy Colts -3. Remember them? They were competing for a 1 seed a couple of weeks ago. They've been completely written off. Everyone loves the Texans, who've won 3 straight against Indy. They have the #1 defense in the league. I get it. C.J. Stroud is back. Daniel Jones has no working bones in his legs. People are all over Houston, moving the line, as Raheem said, from 4.5 to 3. Not so fast. I'm going with the Colts. I'm going to lay the points. This Indy team's won 5 of their last 7. They dropped the game to the Chiefs that they should have held on to win, and they lost to Pittsburgh in a must-win situation, a tough spot. So, look, they still would have been on a hot streak if not for those games. I think it picks up in a couple hours. The Colts are 6-0 at home. C.J. Stroud struggles on the road, aside from that Ravens game. 3 duds. And now a new-look secondary with the Colts, Charvarius Ward and Sauce Gardner. On the other side, it's very simple. Don't rely on Daniel Jones to have monster games. That task should be designated for Jonathan Taylor. 4 of his last 6 games versus Houston, 145, 143, 161, and 188. Pound Taylor like you did early in the year, and you'll see the results. It's not impossible. Cook had 116 rushing yards versus this defense last week. Indy gets it together. Carly Ursay takes impeccable notes, and come 4 p.m., all the squares like Raheem Palmer will hang their heads for back in Houston. 30-19, lay the 30.
We call them fighting words. I love it. I love it.
Let me remind you guys, C.J. Stroud, 3-1 against the Colts in his career. And let me remind you again, the Colts defense was on the field for 91 plays against the Chiefs going to overtime. And we know teams that are on the field for 90-plus plays, you're talking about 12 and 26 straight up and 15, 21 and 2 against the spread in the next game. So may the best man win. Because I think that's going to be me.
What's the side bet? I mean, there's got to be one at this point. Sal, Raheem, can we work that out between now and the end of the show? Like, you guys, we know there's a lot on the line, Wise Wager Trophy, all that mumbo jumbo. I want a good, juicy side bet between
I don't want to
two
take
of my
his
wise
money.
guys.
I want to take FanDuel's money.
There you go. It's very sad. We shouldn't be at each other's throats. Our Cowboys.
This is my Cowboys fandom, brother. So we normally don't go at each other, but I'm just going to take FanDuel's money today.
Whatever you say, Raheem. House, I'll allow you to break the tie here. Texans, Colts, do you have a lean on the game?
Well, I'm thrilled because I'm also sitting here at 8-4 with a string of wise wagers that's equally impressive to these gentlemen. Look, if you want to make money, watch this show. 11 o'clock. The three of us are out here giving out winners. Our cumulative record is outstanding, and we're not picking the same picks. I love these guys going head-to-head because it gives me a leg up if I can hit my wise wager today. I lean in the direction of the Colts, and the reason for that is they have been on the road for over a month. All of these performances that look like subpar offensively for them have come on grass. They had an international game. And so I'm willing to overlook some of it. The thing that to me, that is the X factor is that Colts secondary, which, had the trade with the Jets and got healthy all at once, and were pretty good against the Chiefs. I would say that is, to me, the thing. If they're able to put pressure on C.J. Stroud up front, I think that secondary is really something to watch. So my inclination would be the Colts.
I'll break the tie, and I'll side with my guy, Raheem Palmer. I think that Houston defense is playing as well as anybody. And the idea of Daniel Jones now matching up against this Texan ferocious front, talking about a fracture in his fibia, I just think that's incredibly problematic. I would take Houston. I would feel better if I got 3.5. We might have a field goal game. Let's hope we don't have a push, though. That's no fun. For these wise wagers, I don't want to add a push for Sal and Raheem. I want a winner, and I want a loser. Okay. We have another marquee game in the early 1 o'clock window. San Francisco, who continues to find ways to win, they're on the road in Cleveland against a Brown team that's got a little bit of a new lease on life. They got the Shedeur Sanders vibe. They smoked the Vegas Raiders. And we know this about Cleveland in 2025. Their defense, when you put them in their home building, has been incredibly spunky. They have found themselves in a whole lot of football games. Joe House, you mentioned that we have a very tight race as far as the Wise Wager title is concerned. You and I, once again, buddy boy, are going mano-y-mano. You were the king of the dog 2 years ago. I was the king of the dog last year, and we are neck and neck for king of the dog in 2025. Rumor has it, you're going to be barking with the dog pound. Is that our man's best bet?
Yeah, it's not a rumor. Bill Simmons and I on the Ringer 107 have absolutely loved this Browns team when they are at home. And when we see this Browns team getting points at home against a team like the 49ers, who are coming from the West Coast into the unfriendly confines of Cleveland. And look, the thing that looks to be the most exciting moment of the weekend is this crazy weather situation in Cleveland. So we're going to see wind, we're going to see precipitation, and we're going to see Brock Purdy. I'm not going to call him weak-armed, but I'm not going to call him strong-armed. We watched him last week have considerable trouble at home getting the ball out with any kind of velocity. 4 interceptions, not impressive. If San Francisco tries to protect Purdy by way of trying to run the ball. This Browns run defense, number 1 in rush success rate, 2nd in EPA per rush allowed. Sure, with Kittle back, they are able to set up McCaffrey, but Cleveland at home with defensive coordinator Jim Schwartz, 13-7 against the spread since 2023, 6-2 against the spread as home underdogs of greater than 3. The reason for mentioning against the spread here is just they outperform. Now, yes, I have my hand up. I do understand that we have Shedeur Sanders playing quarterback for the Cleveland Browns in these bad conditions, but look, I think Quinshon Judkins is going to get, 30 carries, and we have no proof that this San Francisco defense, even though they looked improved against the Panthers went away from the run for some reason that makes no sense whatsoever. I think the Cleveland Browns dig in, go for it. It's a very low-scoring game. It creates the variance that I'm looking for in an underdog situation. Let me have the Brownies.
House, we're in the spirit of competition, and you'd think I'd be rooting against this play. I'm not. I'm all over the Browns. I haven't plus the points, so I guess best case scenario for me is they go and cover the number, Niners win, and we're in good shape for man's best bet. Sal, you're looking at a San Francisco player prop. Mr. McCaffrey, sloppy conditions, therefore a whole lot of C-Mac. How are we playing C-Mac?
Yeah, the weather has just strayed me from taking either side here, right? Slush and rain and snow and an avalanche. It makes me not want to move to Cleveland now. Honestly, I may have to reconsider everything. But there's nothing better than being on your couch watching these snow, rain games, right? Illinois yesterday, great. Mwah, chef's kiss. But there's a tough one to pick. Definitely tough to pick against the Browns. Number 2 defense and Myles Garrett, who has a billion sacks in the last 3 games. That's why I'm going, JJ, with the CMC prop. 60-plus receiving yards, plus 255. I'm not sure why this number is so high. Sloppy conditions means he'll likely catch a half dozen checkdowns. He has 7 games with 60-plus receiving yards this season. 7 plus 255 for something he's pulled off 7 of 12 games. Can I make this my underdog pick of the year? It doesn't go by the rules here. CMC favored to win Comeback Player of the Year award. I think he's going to amass 60-plus receiving yards at plus 255. Good pick.
Now, Dream, we have Cleveland as a Ringer 107 play. Are you feeling better about that, worse about that, or about the same than you did when we were having our little group chat on Wednesday morning?
I'm pretty neutral. I think the problem with this game is that you just don't know what you're going to get from Shedeur Sanders. He had a 27% success rate last week, and that's not going to win many football games. Now, I do think the Cleveland Browns defense can wreck this game. You go back to the game in which the Cleveland Browns played Brock Purdy at home 2 years ago, the year the 49ers went to the Super Bowl. They absolutely dominated Brock Purdy, caused 3 sacks. I mean, in fact, now, if you look at FanDuel Sportsbook right now, Myles Garrett is minus 245 to record a sack, which is probably the most absurd thing ever. I mean, you just don't see these numbers to record a sack. So it's very tough for me to get on board with playing a side in this game. But if I had to, I would definitely play the 5.5 with the Cleveland Browns. This total's been bet down from 41.5 to 35.5 because you're looking at 27, 30 mile per hour winds. So I think both teams are going to try to be conservative. I think you're going to see a lot of running of the football, a lot of punts. But, it's tough. If I had to play anything, I'd probably look at first half under 17.5 because I imagine the Cleveland Browns, Kevin Stefanski, he won't want Shedeur to lose this game. So they're going to try to be as conservative as possible and try to win this game on defense. So I go first half under 17.5 if I had to play anything.
We have so much more coming your way in this loaded edition of the Ringer Sunday pregame. We have the red-hot Denver Broncos on Sunday night. Washington live in the game. We'll get to Monday night. Giants, the return of Jackson Dart, and a United family play on Monday Night Football. Stay tuned. We're coming right back.
Who's number 2 on your list, Austin?
I don't know if he's actually number 2, but I've been meaning to have a conversation about him for a while now. CJ Stroud. Okay. And now I've been in the depths of Texans Reddit trying to understand if there's actually some diehard fans who think Davis Mills is better than CJ Stroud. Thank God the Reddit is right and that no one's really considering that Davis Mills is better. However, Davis Mills obviously won these last 3 games. CJ Stroud was underwhelming to start the season. He was underwhelming last year, got an offensive coordinator and Bobby Slowick fired. Now going into this stretch here, and let's look at the schedule again. Remember, it's most at stake over these next 6 weeks. They have a real shot at making the playoffs if they go 4-2 over this stretch. They have at Colts, at Chiefs, 2 hard games coming up, then Cardinals, Raiders, at Chargers, and then Colts again at home. If they split the games with the Colts and then lose to the Chiefs, but beat the Cardinals, beat the Raiders, and beat the Chargers, there's a better than 75% chance that they make the playoffs, according to the New York Times playoff predictor. So they need to go pretty much 4-2 down that stretch and specifically split those games at least with the Colts. If CJ Stroud who, since week 1 of last season, mind you, is 22nd in EPA per dropback, 24th in net yards per attempt, and 25th in success rate. Quarterbacks in that same tier are Aaron Rodgers, Spencer Rattler, Bryce Young, Russell Wilson. He has been, by every valuable metric, bad over the last 2 seasons now. And obviously, you have the injuries this year. I think he's been playing better before he got hurt. And I think when he comes back, the offensive line looks better. Nico Collins looks better. There's a chance he comes back and things start to look better. But if they don't, and Davis Mills wins these 3 games, CJ Stroud comes back, they go 3-3 or 2-4 down the stretch, they miss the playoffs again, it's going to get harder and harder to remember that rookie season where he won Rookie of the Year and he won that playoff game and everyone's really excited about him. Maybe he's like a top 8, top 6 quarterback in the league, and you're coming down this contract. Are you going to give CJ Stroud $55 million a year? David Mulugheta, his agent, he's going to be aggressive trying to get money. Are you going to feel confident as a Texans fan giving CJ Stroud $55 million a year after now what would be back-to-back seasons of underwhelming play and maybe even another offensive coordinator, right? You don't even know if Texans are going to go with Nick Caley, the new OC this year, again, after kind of what has happened this year. I just feel like CJ Stroud coming back from injury after where Davis Mills was, how good this Texans defense is, maybe the best in the NFL, you can't come down the stretch here with, I think, not an easy schedule, but definitely a winnable schedule to get into the playoffs. I think if he misses the playoffs, I think there are going to be some real concerns around CJ Stroud in the offseason.
At first, I was wondering, why do you have CJ Stroud on this list? I was kind of like, well, what does he actually have at stake? It's not that big of a deal, but the money thing is really, the contract thing is huge because, like you said, he's eligible for that extension this offseason. And Trevor Lawrence,
Welcome back to the Ringer Sunday pregame with the Wise Guys, John Jastremski, Cousin Sal, Raheem Palmer, Joe House. We are live on the FanDuel Sports Network. Check us out if you are streaming on YouTube. Fellas, Sunday Night Football. The Denver Broncos, one of the best records in the AFC, taking on one of the most disappointing teams in football, the Washington Commanders, who we have not seen since their wonderful display in Madrid against the Miami Dolphins. The line is at 5.5. The total is at 43.5. Let me start the proceedings on this game. I know it's Sunday night, and I'm probably going to neglect the advice I'm giving myself, but this is a rat to the high heavens. It just is. Washington, why does anybody want to bet Washington from what we've seen? They can't win games. The effort has not been there. It's just a season that has lost its sea across the board, started from Jump Street after the Jaden Daniels injury. And do you want to go and lay big margin with Denver? I don't. I think it's kind of a hangover, letdown type of spot. That said, it's a Sunday night game. It's a bailout special, and I may ignore the fact that this is a rat line. That said, Sal, rumor has it, you have a very strong play on Broncos Commanders. Are you feeling a favorite?
Well, that's
we have a live underdog. What do we got?
JJ, I know you're not wrong to designate this a rat line, but it is the Sunday night game, and you'll have shown great restraint if you stay away from it. That you understand there's not another game for a full day after the Sunday night game. You can't, the Monday night, I'll have to recheck the schedule, but I'm pretty sure that's how it works. I can't say I love the Commanders here, but I think there's really good value between plus 230 and plus 240. This line has moved up the line itself to like 6.5. Marcus Mariota's record as an underdog is sort of brutal, but scary Terry McLaurin is back. Might be a difference maker in this offense. Joe House said during the commercial, I don't know if he wants it out there, whatever. I'm knocking down the fourth wall. He says he likes his team's spot today. Not to mention, the Broncos might be out of sync offensively after the bye, and even when in sync, 10 against the Raiders, 13 against the Jets, 20 against the Titans. They don't come to life against the cellar dwellers. House, your Commanders have a fighting chance here. I like them. They're my man's best bet. Plus 230, 24-20 final. Washington wins.
As we usually get a good gauge with you as far as your football team is concerned. Like I get the sense week in and week out, you tell us when to take them. You tell us when to fade them. This is actually a week I think you may get the Cousin Sal endorsement. Do you like the Commanders outright? I know you're taking them plus the points.
I like them taking the points, and I do like them outright. And it's mainly a fade of this Broncos offense, 25th offense in the league. And Bo Nix on the road. This Broncos team just doesn't score on the road. They play down to their competition. They lost to the Chargers 23-20. They beat the Jets 13-11. They beat the Texans 18-15. They just can't score any points. Now you're looking at the Washington defense and saying, well, who can they stop? Well, they've had a really tough run of opposing offenses when they've been up against offenses of the class that this Broncos team is. They held the Chargers to 6 points. They held the Dolphins to 16 points. They had the Giants to 10 points. That's the class that this Denver offense belongs in when they're on the road. Now, obviously, the Denver defense can cause quite a bit of havoc. The reason you would side with Washington here is because the return of Terry McLaurin, the return of Noah Brown, and a little bit of the inability of Denver to plan for this offense. So I think the number's too high, and I think there's a decent chance Washington with Dan Quinn, they have nothing to play for but pride. I like that situation. We watched it just led this past Thursday with the Cincinnati Bengals. I like Washington here.
Dream, you think Washington could go and cover this number? Where do you stand on this game?
So I'm at Broncos minus 5.85. So if you're looking at just the pure spread, there is some value at plus 6.5. I'm going to stay away from this, though. I think, I don't really want to buy on Washington now. Washington closes the season with 4 straight divisional games. To me, those are the spots that I really want to jump in on Washington. I think for this game in particular, if you look at the Commanders, their rushing defense, they're allowing 137.5 rushing yards per game. And R.J. Harvey had his first start against the Kansas City Chiefs. He had 11 rushes for 30 yards. And I think there's a spot to buy on R.J. Harvey. His rushing total is up from 47.5 to 57.5. I think he goes over that. I think this is a good spot to play him over. So let's go R.J. Harvey over 57.5 rushing yards.
Well, let me get player prop for Sunday Night Football. See, that's how I can get involved, South. I don't want to go near Commanders, Broncos. Give me the player prop, roll with Harvey, and away we go. Now, we have a Monday night game we're going to get to momentarily. Our pal, and I'd argue, I haven't played with Joe House yet. And I think Joe House is an exquisite golfer. But this guy, Tate Frazier, takes it to another level. He's absurd. I'd take a guess that he's the best golfer at the company, unless we hire a PGA pro. I don't know. Maybe that's coming soon. Simmons, you'll have to let me know.
Don't sell her short. Come on.
Fair enough, Sal. Tate, what do you got for Monday night?
What's up, wise guys? Tate Frazier here. Good to see everybody. Hope everybody had a happy Thanksgiving with the fam. Hope everybody's not too tired from the tryptophan and the turkey, but I'm here to talk Monday Night Football. I got a pick for you. I'm going to take the Giants plus 7.5 in this game. Again, a hampered offensive line for the New England Patriots. I think Drake May, the offensive, kind of struggles were there on the goal line last week. I think this D-line, which gave my guy Justin Herbert some problems, I think they do similar things to Drake May a little bit, wreak some havoc there in the backfield. So again, I think that the Patriots find a way to win this game, but I like plus 7.5 for the Giants. So that is the play of the day. And who knows, maybe this is a little Bill Belichick showdown between these two franchises, and maybe the Giants can give Bill Belichick a call soon. We'll see what happens. But again, hope everybody's having a great show, a great day, and let's take the Giants plus 7.5.
So the dirty little secret with the Giants all season, fellas, is that they've been in a lot of games. Sal, you know that full well because you had Detroit last week.
Yeah.
Giants should have won the game outright. I mean, you could look at about 5 different fourth quarters where the Giants have had double-digit leads, and yet they have been on the short end of the stick when it comes to going and winning the game. Raheem, 7.5, return of Jackson Dart. New England kind of flexing, feeling their oats, but they have some issues on the offensive line. Is this a trap game for Mr. Simmons' New England Patriots?
I don't necessarily buy into the whole trap game idea. I think, these are NFL teams, and I think everybody is just playing as hard as possible every week. Some teams are just better than other teams. But I do think this is a spot where the Giants can, possibly win a game. So I'm taking the Giants plus 310 as my man's best bet. And you mentioned the New England Patriots, they're losing their tackles. You lose right tackle Will Campbell. You lose Jarrett Wilson, both out for this contest. And we know that the Giants can rush the passer. And if if you look at the Giants, they are 2-10 this year, but they have the Pythagorean expectation of a team that should have won around 5 games. I mean, this is a team who has taken leads into the fourth quarter, and they've lost 5 games after leading late. They should have won last week. And unlike the Detroit Lions, the New England Patriots, they're not going to be able to take advantage of the Giants' leaky run defense. So I think this puts them in a bad spot. And I think, the Patriots, they've won 9 in a row. We've bet the Patriots a ton. But the last 4 weeks, they could have lost any one of those games. I mean, 23-24 to the Atlanta Falcons, 28-23 to the Bucs, 27-14 to the Jets. I mean, the Jets probably weren't going to win that game, but they were in it. And then last week against the Bengals were driving with a chance to win. So I like the Giants in this matchup. They're second in EPA per play since week 6. So I think, eventually the ball bounces their way and they may have a chance to win this. So at plus 310, I'm seeing a ton of value.
I like you taking a shot. I like you swinging for the fences. Sal, we know one thing historically, the Giants and the Patriots, I mean, we're going back almost 20 years to those Super Bowls, but weird things happen in those Giant-Patriot games. When the Patriots are going for an undefeated record, Giants gave them hell. We know the Coughlin-Eli history. I know it's Mike Vrabel and Drake May and Jackson Dart and interim head coach Mike Kafka, but Giants plus 7.5. You think it's live?
Yeah, I do. And the best part about this game is after the Patriots win, I don't have to listen to Simmons gloat, right? Because unless he moves against the Lions to Monday night, I don't think he's going to do that. But I am taking the Giants plus the points. I'm going to be honest. I don't love the fact that they are 3-20 in their last 23 night games. That sounds crazy, but that is true. But I feel like they have a decent chance staying inside the margin, mostly because I think the Pats offense stalls a little with their O-line troubles. No Will Campbell, no Jared Wilson. They got a bunch of decent pressure guys on the Giants. Brian Burns, top 4 pressure guy in the league. And by the way, he said about Drake May, I don't know if you saw this, JJ, he does seem to be poised, maybe a little bit too poised. Whoa. I don't know what the hell that means, but those are fighting words for sure. Jackson Dart does enough to disrupt what's usually a solid run defense. Let's call it 23-19 Pats win. Boo. Giants cover. Cha-ching, or whatever noise your FanDuel app makes when you collect. Now, Raheem, though, I want to point out, I think this is 2 weeks in a row he's picking against the Patriots as his man's best bet. That is job security he's feeling. I love it. I love the balls on you, Raheem. Good for you.
Look, I should have job security for no other reason than I said that Drake May would win a championship before Josh Allen. Yes. I think that's made me untouchable.
I think I said that too. Oh, no, I did a whole different thing with Drake May. All right, whatever.
we remember to take. Fellas, I'm going to give it a full-fledged endorsement. For my SGP for this Sunday, you're going to have to wait an extra day. Giants plus 7.5, all about that action. They've been in way too many games. I don't expect that to change with the injuries on the Patriot offensive line. Then we're going to take Jackson Dart. I know people are saying he's not going to run as much. All I need him to do is get 25-plus rushing yards. And if you're trying to escape pressure, that's where you get it, not as much on the quarterback design runs. Then I'm giving you Stephon Diggs against a leaky Giant secondary. 4+ receptions, Stephon Diggs, Drake May's number 1 weapon. Done. And then Travion Henderson, 60+ rushing yards against that Giant run defense that couldn't stop Sal, Raheem, and House. That SGP, it's juicy, a little under 7-1.
Nice.
Let's cash it. You got to wait an extra day, but some things are worth waiting for. House, 3 for 3. Are you going to give us the kiss of death here on the Giants plus 7.5?
I am indeed. Not only me, but me and Bill Simmons. Bill Simmons endorses this Giants getting 7.5. We picked it as a Ringer 107 play, trying to put our money where our mouth is. And you guys all have made very compelling cases. The Giants 5-2-1 against the spread against playoff level teams. That's Denver. That's Philly twice. That's the Chargers. That's the Chiefs, Green Bay, Detroit, Dallas. They've played them all tough. Leads in the fourth quarter against many of those teams. It's too many points for this Patriots team. Love them getting 7.5 here, the Giants.
All right, boys. The team that right now profiles is the best team the league has to offer. And again, you want to be careful. A lot can change between the end of Thanksgiving and January and February. But Los Angeles looks like a runaway freight train. They are loaded. They have an MVP leader, in my opinion. I don't think I'm going out on much of a limb by saying that. With the elder Matthew Stafford playing some of the best football of his life. They smoked Tampa Bay on Sunday Night Football. And now they got to go on the road and lay 10.5 against the Carolina team that was handed such a gift on Monday night. last week against the Niners. They get all these Brock Purdy interceptions, and they can't do anything with them. Total in this game is at 45.5. It's a classic letdown spot for the Rams, yet I don't want to get in the way of this runaway freight train. House, you don't need to. You got an SGP for us. Is that right?
Yeah, I do indeed. And, you know, this is a game that if I didn't bet on it, I wouldn't watch it. So let's go ahead and have something to root for here. This is a little four-legger. We have the Rams getting out to a quick lead. I like them -2.5 in the first quarter, have to win the first quarter by a field goal. I like the Rams to win the game outright. And then we have two receivers where we're going to play yards and then receptions. We have Tet getting over 57.5 receiving yards for Carolina. This game sets up for a script where Carolina is behind by quite a bit. Tet is the number one option. Interesting nugget. The Rams defense, for as good as it is only kind of mediocre, 17th in the league against opposing number one receivers by DVOA. So that's okay. We let Tet get to 60 yards or so. And then Devontae Adams over 4.5 receptions. That's the fourth leg to this. He's done this 4 out of his last 5 games. He's getting the targets, and the Rams don't stop throwing the ball when they get a lead. They still play ball control by throwing the ball. So I like Adams over 4.5. That thing plays out plus 548 on FanDuel.
Love me a couple of juicy SGPs. You've seen 2 already. You're going to see a couple more throughout the course of this show. Sal, the Rams are playing great, and they're feeding Puka Nacua. You're thinking alternate receptions, a player prop for this 10.5-point spread.
Yeah, I mean, you called it, JJ. Like, people are looking at this as a trap game. I know Raheem doesn't like the term, but whatever you want to call it, they're coming off big, high-profile wins against Seattle and Tampa Bay. Now they're coming west to east. How much can they get up for the Panthers? There may be some truth to that narrative, so I'll stay away from the side, going with the player prop. The Rams' best player prop, Nacua, 8+ receptions. By the way, this is not adjusted. This is what he's supposed to get. I'm only -112 on this. It seems like a lot, but it's about what he averages. His first 5 games, he had 52 receptions. The last few, he's had 7 catches in 3 of the last 4. So last 4 Panthers games, 3 of them have seen an opposing player go for at least 7 receptions. So why not the best to do it? A guy that seems to get open in any case. Betting on Puka to connect with Stafford 8 times or more, -112.
Now, Dream, you had 2 division future bets that were crazy long shots. I referred to them as lottery tickets. That Bears lottery ticket is looking better and better by the minute. Carolina, you thought you were set up after what we saw from the Buccaneers Sunday against the Rams. Then we watched Carolina play the San Francisco 49ers, and they missed a golden opportunity. I know they got 2 games with Tampa. I know that's going to determine a whole lot. But what's the confidence meter specifically on Carolina to go and win the division after what we saw just 6 days ago?
I'm still pretty confident. I think they still have a shot. I think ultimately it's going to come down to those 2 games against the Buccaneers. We expected them to lose last week against the 49ers. We expect them to lose today. So I'm just going to hold my nose and hopefully it comes through. They win one of those games, specifically the first one, and then we can kind of work off that position later on in the year. But as far as this game here, I think, it's tough to back the Rams here because it's just like, all right, this is kind of an inflated number. We know what these teams are. But I think my approach to this game is that I think the Rams are going to be up ahead. And unfortunately, that means Rico Dotto, he's not going to have too many opportunities to run the ball. I mean, he's been held under 50 yards for multiple straight games. Teams are selling out to stop the run against the Carolina Panthers. And ultimately, if the Carolina Panthers are chasing points, he's not going to get the ball so much. So I'm looking at his under 61.5 rushing yards, and I think that's a good play. I think that's the way to kind of approach this because ultimately, if the Rams go up 7, 10, 14 points, I mean, he might have 6 carries just like he did last week against the 49ers. So that's my play for this game.
Gut feel, it's way too many points, but there's just no way in the world I'm getting in front of that runaway Rams train. No, thank you. Okay, monstrous game for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Raheem mentioned the battle they are in at the moment with the Carolina Panthers for the NFC South. They have been destroyed by injuries. They're going to be a little healthier going into this game, and it was a major question after the Sunday night game. What's the deal with Baker Mayfield? He's a warrior. He's a badass. Of course, he's going to be out there playing. Tampa's laying 3.5. The total in this game is at 44.5. Here's how I'm playing it, fellas. This is a Baker Mayfield get on my back type of game. So I'm going to make it real simple. I'm not going to mess with the points. I think Arizona is a carcass. I don't want to get on board with them at all. I think Gannon is going to get fired at the end of the year. They continue to find ways to lose. But can this be a 3-point game? Absolutely. So let's not mess with the points. Let's take Tampa to win. Over 1.5 Baker Mayfield passing touchdowns. You get that at plus money. We call that the Warriors special here on the Ringer Sunday pregame. Baker's a warrior, and Baker we trust. Maybe not with 3.5, Sal, but over 1.5 touchdowns and to go and win the game. Sign me up. I'm playing $1 quarterback. You're playing the Arizona quarterback. What's the play?
I like it. Yeah, I hate this. I was about to make it my rat line. I think this could be a good, let me see one drive, and then I'll decide, Igbuka went for 25-yard reception. Okay, they're in sync. Jump on Tampa Bay. But yes, Brissett is my OMG to throw for over 1.5 touchdown passes. And it's an OMG because it's like, OMG, this should not be an OMG because he's not that bad. He really is. He's thrown 2 or more touchdowns in 5 of his last 6 games. The Bucs have allowed 8 touchdown passes in the last 3 weeks. Nice spot here for Brissett. Michael Wilson's a good option now. Trey McBride's been for a while, and we should be seeing some Marvin Harrison today. Jacoby Brissett over 1.5 touchdown passes is the play today in Tampa.
Sal, I get it.
Yep.
I think we'll see points. Raheem, the Cardinals have done us dirty. I had them last week against Jacksonville. I'm still sick to my stomach about that game. They have invented ways to lose. Yet, you think this might be a good opportunity to get in on the Arizona Cardinals. Why do you like them plus 3.5?
Yeah, I know the Cardinals, they forced 4 turnovers last week, and they still lost that game. But this is about Baker Mayfield. He has not been the same quarterback he was over the first half of the year, since week 7. I mean, you're talking about a guy who, since week 7, 6 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, been sacked 12 times. We know he's banged up. He's been dead last in EPA per play plus completion over expectation. And if you look at the start of the year, this Tampa Bay Buccaneers team, I mean, they weren't very good. It was just Baker pulling a rabbit out of a hat. I mean, you're talking about a team that's 6-5, but they have a Pythagorean expectation of a team that should have won 4.5 games. So they really overperformed to start the year. And now that Baker is not healthy and not playing well, they can't overcome the other deficiencies on this team. So I think you're getting 3 in a hook, and you have this Cardinals defense getting healthier. You got Jacoby Brissett playing pretty well. I think the Cardinals could cover and maybe even win this game outright. I mean, I thought about taking this as my man's best bet. It just, I don't know. It feels like this weekend is all about the dogs. I mean, I guess it's a Dogs Day afternoon. I don't know if you guys have done this on the rewatchables, but it might be time to do that the way these dogs are barking.
Yep.
Yeah, maybe we'll see some dogs barking. I just can't get on board with the Cardinals. Kind of over it, done with them. Persona non grata as far as I'm concerned. It's been a team that has invented ways to lose, and they've also been a team that have invented ways not to cover. Just saying.
Well, I mean, all you have to do is look at that win that they gifted Tennessee. It really is the high point of the season from the perspective that you're describing, JJ. I honestly think that the right play here is Arizona grabbing the points, and it mainly resides in the notion that Baker, as Dream mentioned, he's just not playing well. I mean, he's been hurt. He can't run as effectively. He can't escape the rush as effectively. And this Arizona team, the one thing they can do is push the ball downfield. Jacoby Brissett has been throwing a very nice deep ball, and rate-wise, they've been really trying to do that. And Marvin Harrison is coming back, and they have the weapons. So I just don't like laying 3.5 against a team that has that explosive potential.
Boys, we have an AFC West matchup in the late afternoon window. The Raiders, who have been one of the worst teams in the NFL, taking on a Charger team that's licking their wounds, coming off their bye week. The last time we saw them, they got absolutely smoked by the Jacksonville Jaguars. Fellas, it's time for a wise wager, and I need to get on board with all the winning. I'm doing plenty of winning, but not with these wise wagers. That is coming to an end with this particular game. I absolutely love the Los Angeles Chargers laying the 9.5 against this hapless Raider team. Jim Harbaugh has been the head coach of the Chargers now almost a year and a half. He's 3-0 against the spread against Vegas. You throw in the fact that Vegas, putrid on the offensive line. You throw in the fact that Geno Smith has been a turnover machine, and you have a Charger team well-rested, needing to win this game in the absolute worst way. There is no love lost between Pete Carroll and Jim Harbaugh. I think Harbaugh and the Chargers look to run it up. I think this is easy peasy. I think you could throw it in every tease, in every parlay. Put the Chargers in everything. They will take care of business, and they will win by margin. You know, Sal, normally division games, you don't like laying a number. When Vegas is the other team, you could go and lay the number. They stink.
No, forget it. The Raiders. Then I have the same reasoning for making my SGP here because the Raiders are involved and they're easy to pick on, right? And it's usually profitable when you bet against their individuals. So I'm going to have a little more fun with it, JJ. I think you're good. It's going to be a blowout. But I'm taking Chargers -6.5 adjusted. They already beat the Raiders by 11 earlier in the year, and that was probably a better Raiders team, if we're honest. Under 48.5, I'm moving that up a little. Last 4 Chargers games have gone under 48. Raiders, surprisingly, top 14 or 15 defense, so they could keep you honest for a little bit. Brock Bowers, I don't want to say he's disappeared, but he's due a 20-plus yard reception. He's done this a few times this year. He averages 8 targets, so he's going to break a tackle, get this one home. And Geno Smith, under 1.5 touchdown passes. He's gone under 2 in 6 of his last 7. None against the Chargers the first time around. Poor Geno. Let's do this. Bolts -6.5, under 48.5. Bowers 20-plus yard reception, and Geno 0 or 1 touchdown pass pays +359.
You know, House, this is the sort of game, Chargers go and play with their food, and this is tight in the fourth quarter. That's when the thoughts of, hey, this team might miss the playoffs, may come home to roost. Like, if you're a playoff team, off a bye, off of the game you just had, time to go and lay the smack down.
I agree. And honestly, if you had not taken this as your wise wager, I would have taken it. I do think this Chargers team is right there for the playoffs. We're going to do some miss the playoffs conversation here coming up. And I do have an interesting angle to explore with you boys, but I think the Chargers come out and just handle their business. I can't make a case for the Raiders, which is probably the reason why they'll cover.
Lot more coming your way in this loaded edition of the Ringer Sunday pregame. House, hit it. Who's making the playoffs? Who's going to be on the outside looking in? We got all the value plays with the wise guys. We're coming right back.
I saved him for last because I don't even know if I fully believe it, but I kind of want to believe it. And it's Daniel Jones. And it's kind of the Indianapolis Colts overall, right? Obviously, a big favorite to make the playoffs. They're 8-3 right now. I wanted to go over who they've beat this year and the games that they've won, and then also look at their last 6. So they're 8 wins this year. Week 1, blew out a bad Dolphins team. Miami fired their GM this season. It's been a disaster. They barely beat the Broncos and Bo Nix off that leverage call. That was like a 29-28 game. They win that game. They blew out the Titans, one of the worst teams in the league. Blow out the Raiders, maybe the worst team in the league. Beat Jacoby Brissett and the Cardinals, barely. JT had a huge game. Beat the Chargers with that banged-up offensive line. They don't look the same without Joe Alt. They blew out the Titans again. They get the gift of playing the Titans twice. And then against the Falcons in Germany, almost ended up losing that game, but JT has like an absurd game. Jonathan Taylor has an absurd game, 3 touchdowns, over 200 yards rushing, whatever. Those are their 8 wins against a lot of bad football teams, a lot of injury-plagued football teams, and also in situations where I think Jonathan Taylor has been the best. To finish the season now, after losing to the Chiefs in a game that I think they could have won, but Daniel Jones, I think, specifically played poorly down the stretch, they have Texans, at Jaguars, at Seahawks, Niners, Jaguars again, and Texans again. They have 4 divisional games left on their schedule. Texans twice, Jags twice. And then you got to go to Seattle, and you got home against the San Francisco 49ers, who are never an easy out. This is going to be a tough schedule down the stretch. And I think you haven't beat a lot of good teams this year. You've played teams that are banged up. And when the game matters most towards the end here, and specifically in this, I want to talk through some of the Chiefs plays after I kind of hear what you think about this, but I do feel like when you heat up Daniel Jones, or when the situation heats up Daniel Jones, it gets harder and harder to see, like, okay, this Colts team is a Super Bowl contender. This Colts team is a deep playoff contender. And like, everyone's been kind of counting them as a pretender since they started off so hot. But I think this Chiefs game specifically last week, and seeing how Daniel Jones played in the fourth quarter and overtime, really reminded me of like, oh, wow, if it's a 1-score game late and you're getting into third down with Daniel Jones, you're going to have a real shot to beat this team. Whereas like when obviously they're up in big leads and Jonathan Taylor's running over everyone with a really good offensive line, it's easy to see them as this juggernaut that's blowing out teams. But I just don't know if I trust this Colts team in one-score games, and they might have to play 3 to get to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I'm totally with you. I mean, they've got the 4th hardest schedule according to the betting markets. They've got, just for Daniel Jones specifically, they've got the 2nd hardest remaining schedule of opposing defenses by DVOA. So they're going to have to earn it. And I'm not penciling them in to win the AFC South. You know, I'm with you. You look at the end of that game, and I rewatched it before we came on, and those last 4 drives, they don't pick up a single first down. They couldn't run the ball. And so now you're getting them in a situation where Spags is saying, you're not finishing this game by running the football on us. And so first drive, they try to run it. They can't. Then he gets
Welcome back to the Ringer Sunday pregame with the Wise Guys. John Jastremski, Cousin Sal, Joe House, and Raheem Palmer. We will get to our make-miss playoff value plays. We'll have our family meal for this Sunday of action. Raheem, I was a very rude host because we went through and detailed all the plays that we like for Chargers and Raiders, and I threw it to break. I thought I was doing my job, and then I hear our buddy go, JJ, you forgot one of my plays. So, Raheem, shame on me. I forgot your SGP. Take it away, sir. Floor is yours.
Okay, we're going to go Justin Herbert, over 1.5 passing touchdowns. The Raiders are giving up 2 touchdowns per game over the last 3. And, you know, the Raiders are averaging 25.5 points per game given up on defense. I'm also going to go with Justin Herbert. 18.5 rushing yards over. I really like this one. He's going over in 9 out of 11 games. You actually play that prop by itself. The only concern there is you get some kneel downs at the end. But overall, I think he should be able to hit that. And then for my third leg, let's go with Ladd McConkey. 50-plus receiving yards. You look at Ladd McConkey, he's averaged 83.5 receiving yards over his previous 5 games before the last dud that he had before. So I really like this SGP. Pays 4.5 to 1. So let's put that in.
Listen, I love when we got a little family unity. These SGPs are all sounding super juicy. I'm playing every single one of them, and hopefully it's going to be a real profitable Sunday for the fellas. Now, we just got a text. It's like sound the alarm, the bat signal. Simmons alert. Bill, text the group. Fellas, can we get your thoughts on a Houston Texans / under tease? And he sent us the wager. Texans alt spread at +8.5. Sal under at 49.5. You biting?
I'm biting now. I mean, this would have been fun 45 minutes ago when we were going over this game. Thanks for watching, Simmons. But yes, of course, points are going to come at a premium. By the way, this is a Dabbundo special, right? He's been betting the Texans under every single game since September, probably before September. I think during the preseason games, he was betting the Texans under. So it's a winner. The Colts are my side, not Houston.
And you should know this, Sal, as someone that worked in television, that spent all these years on a Jimmy Kimmel show. Come on, man. It's not like every viewer is dialed in from start to finish. Many of you are. And if you are from start to finish, that's what I'm talking about. We call that loyalty, but, coming and going.
The one that gave us the jobs. That's the one I really
you expect him to watch every show, every moment, every minute. I understand.
Don't kiss up to Simmons, JJ. It's
I'm not. Listen, nobody's kissing up here. I'm just acknowledging simple television facts, Sal. Okay. That's all I'm doing. Trust me, I did pick the Giants +7.5. All right, boys. Let's get to these teams as we hit the home stretch that are either going to make or miss the postseason. And once you hit the Thanksgiving holiday, this playoff picture really comes into focus. How's the Kansas City Chiefs losing and having all of these tiebreakers working against them appears to be incredibly problematic. But for you, sir, you are not ready to quit the Kansas City Chiefs yet. So what is your play for either a team to make or miss the postseason?
Yeah, I'm parlaying the Chiefs to make and the Chargers to miss. That combination right now, it's correlated and it pays +190, +191 on the FanDuel Sportsbook. I think the goal here is for one of these teams to get to 10 wins. And I have the Chargers winning outright today. I have them at 8 wins, handling their business. But then they have home games. They have a home game against Philadelphia. They're at Kansas City, which to me really does ultimately swing which way this playoff make or miss is going to go. And at Dallas, home against Houston, they finish at Denver. Now, the one thing that could skew this is that this Chargers team at the end of the season playing in Denver, what is Denver playing for? Will they have locked up the division? Will there be a possibility of them getting a 1 seed? That will really dictate it. But I need the Chiefs to get 4 wins. Well, I have 2 wins for the Chiefs. The Vegas Raiders to finish the season. Tennessee in Week 16. They're going head to head with the Chargers. So that's 3 of those wins, and then they have a home game against Houston and a home game against Denver. So I have a pathway for the Chiefs to get to 10 wins and the Chargers not to get to 10 wins. And that Week 15 tilt head to head where the Chiefs are hosting the Chargers, that's the pathway to this plus 191 parlay.
Ooh, Sal, you think quite the contrary here because your make the playoffs bet would contradict something our guy just said.
Yes, I'm going against. I like the Chargers here. This was a tough extra assignment here. Our producer, Jack, was all freaking out. He's like, we only have 12 games. What are we going to do? Let's add a category. Calm down, Jack. Go have some leftover corn pudding. We're going to be fine here, and I'm going to be fine with the Chargers minus 168. I didn't want to bet on or against Baltimore or KC or for the Cowboys. I know that would be fun to throw in my face eventually. So I'm going to take the Chargers, big vig at minus 168. But they're going to beat the Raiders, right? So that's 8 wins. Then 2 of their last 5 they have to get to. Texans on their schedule. It's still Harbaugh and Herbert going to get them to 10, barring injuries. Harbaugh could tear his Achilles. It'll be fine. It wouldn't matter. Chargers minus 168 to make the playoffs. I think they get to 10.
Now, Raheem, rumor has it your make the playoffs bet is a team that is very near and very dear to your wonderful little heart. And Cousin Sal's going to love this one.
Don't do it.
How about them Cowboys? Come on, Raheem. How about them Cowboys?
So I like the Dallas Cowboys to make the playoffs, but there's a caveat here. You look at the Cowboys, they're plus 225 to make the playoffs, but I don't think that's the right way to play it. I think the right way is to play the Cowboys to win the NFC East at plus 650. Now, I think Bill suggested this to Sal on Twitter. It was plus 900 the other day, but I still think there's some value here. At plus 650, that means that the Cowboys only have to win this division 14% of the time in order for you to break even. So you look at the Cowboys right now. They actually own the tiebreaker with the Philadelphia Eagles because they have the better division record at 3-1. Meanwhile, the Philadelphia Eagles are 2-2 in division with only 1 more division game left. So the Eagles right now, they're in a free fall. I mean, it's very similar to what you saw 2 years ago when Brian Johnson was the offensive coordinator. I mean, I don't know what's going on with Kevin Patulu. It looks like Jalen Hurts has been swapped out for Shamar Moore at quarterback because he's just not playing good quarterbacking at all. So I think the Cowboys are very live to win this division. So I'm going to play them at plus 650. I think it's a long shot lottery ticket. But like I said, 14% of the time is just your break-even rate. So I think there's a very good chance that you have a positive expected value wager.
Speaking of lottery tickets, any interest, boys? 65-1? Miami Dolphins to make the playoffs? No, I'm just kidding. I was wondering what kind of reaction I was going to get the minute I uttered that phrase out of my mouth. And no, I will not be betting on my beloved team to go and make the playoffs, despite New Orleans and the Jets each of the next 2 weeks. The Houston Texans are the team you got to go and bet to make the playoffs. And this number will drastically change if the Houston Texans go and win against the Indianapolis Colts. They will be minus money as far as I'm concerned with that defense. So, Dream, this maybe is correlated with your wise wager today. I like the Texans. I think they went outright against the Colts. I'm betting them now to go and make the postseason. So you gave me a make the postseason bet, Raheem. I need a miss.
All right, so this one's uglier than a masterpiece sneaker, as I used to say. It's really ugly. No one's going to like this. The Buffalo Bills to miss the postseason at plus 520.
Whoa. Why?
Hear me out. It's not about the Bills itself. It's more about the value. At plus 520, this denotes a 16% chance. So your break-even rate is 16%. And you look at the Bills right now. They're the 7th seed in the AFC. They lose tiebreakers to both the Chargers and the Jaguars based on best win percentage in conference games. Now, this bet is basically predicated on if you think the Steelers have a chance to win this game today. Yep. Because if the Steelers win today, you're knocking down the Bills from, 7th to 8th to 9th. And then they have the Bengals. They're at the Patriots. They're at the Browns. And they have the Eagles and the Jets to close the season. That's not an easy schedule at all, specifically for a team in the Buffalo Bills who's had a ton of injuries. They can't stop the run. The defense is bad. So they lose today. And this bet has a ton of value. But only make this bet if you think they're going to lose today.
Right. Fair enough. There's one that nobody's mentioned, and I'm honestly stunned nobody's mentioned this. Baltimore plus 145 to miss the postseason. Has anybody seen Baltimore's final 5 games? I'm going to give them to you right now. They play the Steelers. They're at Cincinnati. They host New England. They're at Green Bay. They're at Pittsburgh. This Baltimore team has looked absolutely shot all season. I think they continue to be overvalued. Lamar Jackson is not right. Derrick Henry looks like he's a zillion years old. And I know the division is wide open, and therefore it's being priced in. Aaron Rodgers and the injury. Cincinnati maybe losing some tiebreakers. Cincinnati is going to be far more spunky with Joe Burrow back at quarterback. Plus 145, boys, is a good number to get on board with the Ravens to go and miss the postseason. House, I'm shocked you're not on that one.
Well, the reason is because it might only take 8 wins to win the stupid AFC North. With the Cincinnati coming back with Burrow playing spoiler in these division games, it might be the case that Baltimore only needs 2 more wins. The head-to-heads against Pittsburgh are going to decide this division, and in both instances, I prefer the Ravens to the Steelers, and that's it.
JJ, so the problem I have with my fault.
No, you go ahead. It's all you. No, actually, I was going to say with Raheem, off of Raheem's point, I know, it's either one. Off of Raheem's point, it's how you think this Bills-Steelers game will end up, right? If you like the Bills in this game, then taking the Ravens to not make the playoffs is a little bit more of a climb. But you're right. I no longer think that the Ravens are going to sweep the Steelers. I mean, I'm not going to say they'd be lucky to split, but that's what they should probably hope for the rest of the way.
Yeah, I think Sal hinted on it. It's basically how you feel like this game is going to go. But you got to remember, at plus 148, you're basically saying your break-even rate on this is 40%. And let's just say the Steelers lose this game. You're not going to get any value because that line's pretty much going to drop. And then if you look at the rest of the games on their schedule, the Ravens are probably going to be favorite in all of these games. So they're going to be favored on the road against the Bengals.
Which is ridiculous, by the way. Ridiculous. No. Not based upon the Ravens we've seen this year.
But, I mean, you still have to base it on their power rating. And if they're favored in all of these games, that means that you're going to have value betting on these other teams. They're going to be favored against the Bengals. They're going to be favored against the Patriots. They maybe pick them at worst on the road against the Packers. And
no, Packers will be laying 3. They got to be. You can't make the Ravens a favorite in that game. That's outrageous.
Be close.
That's outrageous. Come on. At Lambeau Field? With the way Lamar's look, that's got to be at least 2.5, 3.
I think you're closer to a pick'em because I still think the Ravens are probably power rated historically higher than the Packers. But my point is that if you're betting on them to miss the postseason at plus 148, I think you can get in on them later on by playing them game by game, as opposed to you're essentially playing a parlay on something and you're not getting odds on it. That's my point.
But JJ, the other point is FanDuel has been in love with the Ravens since when they were bad. Like, they were 1-5, and they were a slight underdog to win the AFC North. So that's good for you. They're creating value just by setting these crazy lines for the Ravens because they're such a sweetheart team still.
Fellas, let's get back to the card here on Sunday, and I'm about to break a rule. You know what the rule is? As we get ready for Jacksonville and Tennessee, this line is at 5.5. The total is at 41.5. There's been a rule on the Ringer Sunday pregame that I've thrown out quite a bit. Friends don't let friends bet the Tennessee Titans. Well, on this fine Sunday, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, you know what I'm about to do? Joe House, this man's best bet is putting his hard-earned American dollars on Cam Ward, who to me showed some signs of serious progress in the second half against one of the best defenses that the league has to offer. I thought Cam Ward was cooking against Seattle last Sunday. I thought he did a really nice job of getting the Tennessee Titans back into that game. And you throw in the fact that Jacksonville has a quarterback that turns the ball over like it's nobody's business and got away with it last week against the Arizona Cardinals. This is a division game. This is a game where I think Jacksonville is ripe for the picking. And there are going to be very few moments that the Tennessee Titans have over the course of the 2025 season. At plus 240, I think one of those moments is going to be here on Sunday. Cam Ward is going to get the better of Trevor Lawrence, and the Tennessee Titans, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, are going to go and beat the Jacksonville Jaguars. Sal, I can't believe I just did it. I picked the Tennessee Titans. Remind me of that later on.
Listen, you're at you have a title to lose here, right? With the man's best bet. So you must have thought this through. I get it with Cam Ward. I get it with the Jaguars being a weird team. I just took them in a teaser. I took the Jags plus a half. I know I'm going through the zero. Sorry, Raheem. And under 47.5. I hit it last week with the 49ers in the under. It's mandatory. 6 points taken off the Jag spread. Basically need them to win and taking a total under 47. So this has an ugly Trevor Lawrence, 5 tip passes, 3 lead to interceptions, but he pulls it out in the fourth quarter game, written all over it, right? I don't want to lay the full 5.5. The Titans actually covered 3 in a row. 6 of the last 8 Titans games have fallen under 48. That combined with the fact that Tennessee can't win leads me to a 22-18 final. Jags and the under on a teaser. Go get it.
Dream, there's no way in the world you can be laying 5.5 or 6 with Trevor Lawrence. On the road, can't do it.
Yeah, I actually think this number should be closer to, 3 or so. I think when you look at this Jaguars team on the road, they're 4-1 against the spread at home and 2-3 against the spread away. And you look at the Titans, the last couple of weeks, they played the Houston Texans and they played the Seattle Seahawks. Those are two of the best defenses in the league. And I think this is a step down in competition. And overall, the Jaguars, we know that they kind of beat themselves. Trevor Lawrence is a little bit of a turnover machine. I just think it's a divisional game. I think you get a really close game. And I think the Titans are actually live to win this game outright. I think Cam Ward is improving. I think overall, I think this is a great spot for the Tennessee Titans.
Sal, 2 notes. One for you, one for House. The first is Simmons texts back. He's watched the entire show, and you can, use language that I can't use here on regional sports television.
People should know what he's really like. Go ahead. Say what he said.
That you can blank off. There you go.
Oh, I could walk off. I'll let. Is that what
whatever you'd like. Okay, you can read that any which way you'd like.
All right.
House, this one's for you. A futures parlay from your Ringer 107 teammate. An outrageous division parlay. Dallas to win the NFC East. The Bears to win the NFC North. The Texans to win the AFC South. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I love it, and I'm obviously getting on it. It is better.
100 to win over 11K, by the way, for those of you keeping score at home.
Wow. Yeah, it's plus 11,337, and that's the kind of number that I like. Honestly, after that Bears, the only leg of this that I'm concerned about, this Texans-Colts game is the referendum because the Jags are not winning the AFC South, so this is it. This Colts-Houston game, we'll know directionally what this is going to be, but this is why you jump on the price right now for Houston to win that division, and Dallas is the wild card. But at this price, I mean, I'm now sold on the Bears. You're not going to get me to say one bad thing. It is exactly what we ask of a team as we round the corner and start looking at the playoffs. Can a team run? And can they control the ball time of possession wise? And can they defend the pass? Well, the Bears checked all of those boxes against Philadelphia with flying colors. So I love the way this Dallas schedule is breaking. They get home games and they get fast tracks for the balance of the season. The only 2 outdoor games they have left are against Washington and against the Giants, the 2 final games of the season. At this price, I kind of love this bet.
You want to get nuts? Come on. Let's get nuts. Speaking of getting nuts, the fantasy football guys. Thoughts, concerns, problems, answers, all of the above. They have some thoughts on the Sunday card in the NFL.
Yeah, how do you feel about Sam Darnold playing against the Vikings? Are you worried?
Yeah. I mean, I think it is the big storyline with this game is like how well do they, I mean, obviously they know him better than probably most other teams at this point. We're practicing against him all of last year. They definitely know his weaknesses really well. What Brian Flores is going to do to him from a blitzing and pressure point of view is going to be really interesting. That is the storyline of this game. I think, on paper, the Seahawks should win this game just because the Vikings are probably going to be starting a backup quarterback. And if they don't, it's going to be J.J. McCarthy.
Max Brosmer.
Right. In Seattle. But, I mean, the Vikings, they can create chaos with the way that they bring pressure and on defense and all that stuff. So I think, the worry here is Sam Darnold going to melt down? And, as we saw a couple of weeks ago, it could happen.
How many points do you think Seattle needs to score to win this game?
That's a good question.
17 should do it, barring more special team stuff like 18? Tennessee.
Yeah.
If that's the case, we should probably bet the Vikings. Like, if we think like 17, 20 points going to win this game, is it really going to be like 20-3? I don't know.
Well, I think the issue is Max
Brosner is going to score on the Seahawks.
I don't know. Cam Ward just lost by 6 on the Titans.
I know, but he was the number 1 pick.
They also scored. They also had a punt return touchdown.
I don't know why, but for some reason, my spidey senses are up with this game, and I think the Vikings might cover.
I think Kevin O'Connell was like Matt. He was really impressed with Max Brosmer's work ethic, and he said he was impressed at his processing. And it's funny because I kind of wouldn't be shocked if Max Brosmer plays better than J.J. McCarthy because he just played a lot more football in college.
Also, all that requires is that he's better than the 851st out of 852 qualified passers. He just has to be 850.
Bit of a low bar.
He just has to not be Jamarcus Russell.
Also, I correct myself. How much did he? Oh no, Minnesota. How many passes? I can't pull up New Hampshire. It's not even a D1 school. Oh my God, I can't even find out how many years this guy played in college.
We went to Minnesota after that?
He transferred to Minnesota. He played 4 years at New Hampshire first. Which is just, imagine being at the University of New Hampshire and you're the quarterback you were watching 2 years ago is like playing for the Vikings this week. It's probably pretty weird. And you're like, damn, we didn't even go to the games.
Why isn't the spread bigger then? Max Brosmer against Seattle, you would think minimum 2 touchdowns.
Because it was just 13.5 versus the Titans and they couldn't cover. I think it's that simple.
Thanks, fantasy guys. Okay, Vikings, new quarterback. Thankfully, we won't have to watch J.J. McCarthy this Sunday. Seattle laying 11 and the hook. The total's at 41.5. And, Joe House, you wisely pointed this out earlier in the show. We have 2 of our guys going heads up on a particular game. You, sir, have also been red hot with the wise wagers. You have a wise wager in this particular game. What's it going to be?
Yeah, you said that thankfully you don't have to watch J.J. McCarthy. I'm actually disappointed because I loved the spread when J.J. McCarthy was the quarterback. The line moved from 9.5 to 11.5. It was sitting at 10.5 most of the week. I really don't have much issue whatsoever with laying all those points with this Seattle team. It's an absolute mismatch. We have the narratives here. Sam Darnold going up against the team that forsake him, whatever, chose not to invest in him. And for sure, you can make the case that this Minnesota Vikings defense will have some familiarity and will try to disrupt Darnold. But I think this is a situation where Seattle comes out and absolutely rolls. We're putting an undrafted free agent quarterback into his very first game in Seattle against a defense that, by many indications is not only top 3, but maybe the best defense in the entire NFL. I am going to go ahead and play it by way of a first half kind of play. We've seen Seattle at home absolutely truck sorry opponents in the first half. They are 8-3 against the spread in the first half this season, 4-1 at home, and only one of these halftime scores when they've won covered the spread has been by less than 8 points. So the line is 6.5. Seattle minus 6.5 first half. The Vikings are 3-8 against the spread. They are only 1-5 against the spread when they're not at home in the first half. This poor Brosmer. God bless them. Best of luck to them. But I think Seattle comes out as one of these deals where they put up 30 points in the first half.
Poor Brosmer. I love it. I love it. Put it in the loop. Hang it in the loop. What can I say? Raheem, this game reeks of an alternate spread, does it not?
Yeah, I'm piggybacking off a house. If you looked at the Seattle Seahawks in the first half this year, they're outscoring teams by 111 points. That's 197 to 86. The next closest team is plus 75. So they dominate teams. They dominate bad teams in the first half of games. So this is going to be my oh my God wager. We're going to lay 12.5 on the alternate spread, plus 230. Get in and out like a robbery, like Tupac said. You know, we did this with the Chiefs and the Raiders, I say about a month ago. Same exact spread, same exact point. So let's do this again.
Okay, 2 for 2 on Seattle. Sal, you making it 3 for 3?
Yeah, and I'm not piggybacking on House because he's a cheater. He's got a minus 125 as his wise wager, but that's fine. Well, you know what? We'll let Pablo Torre
bring it up to the rules committee. Bring it up to the rules committee. That's all I'm going to say.
This is what we call dry snitching because we know Bill is listening right now.
That's right. Let's see it. Yeah, and he said 120. Now it's 125. That's okay. House will be replaced by Stu Feiner next week after Pablo Torre does his investigation. I am going, though, Seattle minus 16.5. I mean, this backup, Hosmer, he only has to connect on 54% of his passes to be better than J.J. McCarthy. But not much to know about this guy. He went to Minnesota College, New Hampshire before that. His girlfriend, Katie, I looked it up, graduated with a degree in 2023 in kinesiology. And I know he's going into a hostile environment to celebrate his first start. It's not going to be too much of a celebration. I'm adjusting this to minus 16.5. The Seahawks have beaten up some suspect quarterbacks. Saints by 31, Cardinals by 22, House's Commies by 24. Let's take a little risk in this Sam Darnold FU game. Seattle wins 34-13. Lay the 16.5 adjusted for plus 150.
Fellas, it's Seattle a pass. No other way around it. Let's get to a couple of stinkfest games. We go down to South Florida. Dolphins, feeling good about things all of a sudden. They've won 2 games in a row. They enjoyed their bye week. Now they're laying 5.5 against the lowly New Orleans Saints, who did me dirty a week ago when I laid points with New Orleans against the Atlanta Falcons. The total for this game is at 41.5. Now, full disclosure, I don't expect a whole lot of wagers on Saints and Dolphins. The game may have a little bit of a stink rat vibe to it, only laying 5.5. Here's what I'm going to do, boys. Let's play an alt spread. You guys did it in the Seattle game. I'm going to hold my nose and do it in this Dolphin game. No Alvin Kamara. Dolphins, the healthiest they've been all year, basically. They're getting Austin Jackson back on the offensive line. Waller will help him in the red zone. Getting Rasul Douglas back in the secondary. And I'm going against Shook. I understand I'm laying margin with the Dolphins. I know they're not any good. But at plus 265, let's roll with it. Dolphins to lay the lumber in a big way. We like a little plus 265. Sal, I know you like a Shook interception, do you not?
I do. I mean, this game, though, JJ, I don't know. No one's dependable here. Like this is.
You tell me it's not making you $4. I think that's a safe bet.
No, it's making the smaller $4 on the TV that I can barely make out. But I mean, this is the elevator open button door facing the cross the street button door. Like just for show. Neither works. Neither team works for me. So I'm betting on Tyler Shuck to shuck things up a little today. He only has to shuck up once. He'll throw a pick. He's done it in 3 of his last 4 games. The Dolphins forced picks from Mariota and Josh Allen the last 2 games. They're actually playing tough defense. They're fresh. Let's face it. It's why everyone tried to pick them up in fantasy this week. Tyler Shuck turns it over in this otherwise mess of a game, minus 130.
You know, Dream, this total at 41.5, Sal hit on the fact that Miami's defense has played better over the last couple weeks. We know New Orleans' offense stinks. Doesn't this game reek of a sneaky under?
I have no interest on playing this total at all. I think the way to play this is that you mentioned Alvin Kamara is out. Well, Alvin Kamara's washed. Who cares if he's out? They got Devin Neal. I think that's the way you play this. You take a lottery ticket on him. You play his over 43.5 rushing yards. You could also play him on his anytime touchdown at plus 260 to get a touchdown. I think you're just trying to look for long shots. You're looking for opportunities to, benefit from the fact that Alvin Kamara isn't playing. And then obviously Taysom Hill, he's probably going to get some red zone carries as well. He's at plus 185, so he probably could steal some touches from Devin Neal. But that's the only way I want to approach this game. This is what Chad Millman, my old boss at Action Network, called a corner TV game. We're not looking in that corner of the room, so I'm looking at Devin Neal. That's the only way I would play this.
Probably a wise decision to put it in the corner TV. And House, I'm proud of you for the fact that you had absolutely no interest in including a bet on this game. Proud of you for that.
It would have been the Dolphins or nothing. I mean, after the abomination that was the Saints organization last week at home against Atlanta and Kirk Cousins, they can go straight to hell. I want nothing to do with a garbage Saints team. They have the worst special teams in the entire NFL. Let that bum kicker come out and kick the grass and fall down 10 times. I could care less. Dolphins roll today.
Speaking of a team that did us dirty a week ago, Joe House, the Atlanta Falcons laying points at MetLife Stadium, taking on the Tyrod Taylor-led New York Jets. Now, we talked about the weather being problematic in Cleveland. I can tell you, walking into our beautiful New York City studios, the rain is falling. It is cold. It is windy. It is nasty. Not quite as nasty as it is in Cleveland, but it's not exactly going to be an enjoyable watch. House, Kirk Cousins on the road, bad weather. Jets, Jets, Jets.
Yeah, I don't know who beat me to it, but I like the Jets money line. I think they're absolutely a play here outright, and the reason is because their run defense is actually their strength. And they are pretty good against outside runs. Well, that has to be the way that Atlanta attempts to advance the ball today, because Kirk Cousins, there's no scenario under which I can imagine them putting him back there and trying to throw the football. The Atlanta defense is, by grade, the best unit on this football field, but it's mainly because they have a good pass defense. Well, the Jets aren't trying to pass the football here. So the variance that comes from the fact that you have, the Jets at home against Kirk Cousins in this weather, that makes Jets a live dog for sure. -6.5, you can get on the FanDuel Sportsbook at +330. If they're going to win, might as well win by margin. Let's go Jets, Jets.
Love it at +330. Raheem, this was almost an honorable mention for our Ringer 107. We're all over the Jets this week.
Yeah, I love the Jets in this week. I mean, you look at last week, that game where the Atlanta Falcons, they played the Saints, and a lot of us were on the Saints. But the Saints were in the red zone 3 times, and they went 0 for 3 in the red zone. They were at the 1. They couldn't score. They also missed a field goal. So that game should have been a lot closer than what we saw last week. And now Kirk Cousins, we know he's old. He's flabby and sick. He's Larry Holmes status. Whatever you want to call him, he's washed. And now he has to go outside in bad weather and take on this Jets defense without Drake London. And we know how much Drake London impacts that offense. So I think the Jets are super live to cover this game at +3. And I also think they're live to win this game outright. It's crazy. We like so many underdogs this week. This is either going to turn out really, really good or really, really bad. But
it is
I like the Jets here.
Stinky card. And Sal, I just want to remind you, all 3 of us like the New York Jets. You care to react to that?
You could have them, because this is, now this went to 3. I don't get it. Look, can we just do something right now? Can we slap the Rat Line Lifetime Achievement Award on the Atlanta Falcons? Like, they do this all
I
the
thought
time.
you were going to slap it on the Jets.
You could
Interesting. All right, you go Atlanta.
Way.
Okay.
You could go either way, really. But the Falcons, you stare at their spread every Monday. It's ratty every single week. Doesn't matter if it's Penix or Kirk Cousins or Desmond Ridder. We can go back and back. It's been this way for a while with Atlanta. And the Jets, like you said, are a perfect ratty pair here. They're bad, but they can return 2 punts for touchdowns. Their defense plays tough like last week, but also can give up 38 to Joe Flacco. Just stay away. You'll feel good about yourself come 4 p.m.
Boys, it's post-Thanksgiving. I know many of us are dealing with a little bit of a hangover from the food, a little lethargic, a little sleepy over the last couple of days. It's time to perk up. It is the Sunday family meal from the Wise Guys. Sal, I saw the photos. You and the family had a fantastic Thanksgiving. Everybody appeared to be in good spirits. The food looked fantastic. What's the anytime touchdown, big boy?
I barely answered the bell for our pre-production meeting Friday morning. I was so wasted.
At least you answered it. I ignored my phone because I didn't see we had a change in timing, and all of a sudden the meeting came and went. I'm hopping on. You guys are gone.
But you were probably running or something, or doing something.
I was
very
walking
active
with my 6-month-old. Great walk around Brooklyn.
That's too much exercise even for me. But listen, these anytime touchdowns, I went like 0 for 2 months, and now I've hit 2 in a row. I feel like I'm doing my part. The rest of you, Gal, Salvones are holding our team back. Get it together, please. Last week, Zach Charbonnet, winner. Today we go with his backfield mate, Kenneth Walker III, 4 rushing touchdowns this year. Should be a lot of scoring in that Seattle game versus Vikings' 24th ranked rush defense. KW3 is a top 15 running back with 26 red zone touches. Let's take him to hit pay dirt and go ahead now, and I'll sit back and watch you guys screw this up. I don't know what's wrong with you, fellas.
Oh, come on. Now the guy who couldn't hit an anytime touchdown for 2 months is talking all sorts of smack. Come on, that's not the sort of unity. So.
Oh, yeah, you're right. It's how I pep talk you. All right.
It is a family meal. You're trying to light a fire under our ends. Let's see if we deliver. Joe House, what's the anytime touchdown?
Yeah, we're looking at Troy Franklin against my Washington Commanders. Troy Franklin leads Denver with 5 receiving touchdowns. 4 of those have come in the last 5 weeks. He's getting the targets, team high 9 targets per game over the last 5 weeks. He is Bo Nix's go-to receiver in the red zone. He has 11 of 14 targets inside the red zone, catches that is, and he should have a decent chance against this Washington Commander pass defense, last in the league in drop back EPA, 27th in passing touchdowns allowed. Let's go ahead and see Troy Franklin get across the goal line.
2 down, 2 to go. Dream, anytime touchdown.
Yeah, I'm bringing some caviar pancakes and some smoked duck to the table. Shouts to Tony Ayo. It's the best meme on the internet. Go look that up. But anyway, we got Colby Parkinson plus 220 to score anytime touchdown. You look at the Rams. I mean, it's pretty much Devontae Adams and Colby Parkinson over the last couple of weeks. I mean, obviously, Devontae Adams has 12 touchdowns this year. It feels like he's scoring all the time, but he's minus 140. Let's have some fun with this. It's Thanksgiving weekend. Colby Parkinson is at plus 220. He scored touchdowns in 3 consecutive games. He has a 67% target share in the red zone during that time period. So let's keep this thing going. Obviously, the Carolina Panthers, they struggle to defend tight ends. So at plus 220, you got a ton of volume. I think there's going to be a ton of chances for the Rams to score touchdowns, and hopefully he gets one of them.
I like you juicing up the value of this family meal. I'm going with a staple. I'm going with old reliable. Mahi. Devon Achane, who to me should be able to eat against this New Orleans defense. He can help us score more ways than one. Passing game, obviously being able to go and run the football. We're going to lay the 140. Devon Achane going to find pay dirt against the New Orleans Saints. All right, let's take a look at the family meal for this Sunday of NFL action. For Cousin Sal, Kenneth Walker. For Joe House, Troy Franklin. For Raheem, this is where we juice it up, and I'm proud of you for this, Raheem. Excellent job. Colby Parkinson at plus 230, and then I'm going with a favorite, Devon Achane, at minus 140. Hey, 30 to 1 for this family meal. Check it out on the FanDuel Sportsbook site, and that, Sal, is the positivity I'm looking for. Raheem, enjoy your final day or two in the city of brotherly love. Maybe bring us a cheesecake. I'm close enough in New York. Cheesesteak. I have cheesecake on the mind. What can I say? Enjoy it, though, Dream.
Oh, I'm definitely going to enjoy it. And one more thing. If I bring you a cheesesteak, it will not be from Pat's and Geno's. We do not eat Pat's and Geno's in Philadelphia. Those are tourist locations. I'm going to bring you to Max's. I'm going to bring you to Ishkabibbles. I'm going to bring you a real cheesesteak. Not none of that Pat's and Geno's. So that's what it is. Me and Sal are head-to-head this week. So
go Colts.
May the best man win.
May the best man win indeed. We say goodbye to Raheem Palmer. And when we come back, Anthony Dabbundo, his Colts have a monstrous game. Is he worried about the possibility of missing the playoffs? AD joins the Wise Guys next.
Is it crazy for me to start with Pittsburgh Steelers head coach Mike Tomlin? And when you first asked me this question, I think the only way to approach it is to look at their next 6 games, like look at their final 6 games and see what they have. The Steelers, who are 6-5, who've completely fallen off after starting the season hot and I think they're 2-2 over their last few games. It looks like the Baltimore Ravens, who are now 6-5 after starting the season 1-5, are probably going to win the AFC North. The Steelers' remaining games are Bills, at Ravens, Dolphins, at Lions, at Browns, and then Ravens again. They need 3 wins for Mike Tomlin to maintain his I've never had a losing season. And you got the Bills coming off a tough loss with extended rest on Thursday Night Football against the Texans. You have the Ravens twice, who need both those games to win the division. Dolphins, let's just give them that win. But then you have at Lions, at Browns. Well, Browns, maybe you give them that win, but you need one more win. You need one more win. Who are they beating the Bills? Are they splitting games with the Ravens, or do they beat the Lions in Detroit? I don't know. I think this Steelers team is underperforming, and I think we kind of felt that. I think we talked earlier in the season about this offense feels gimmicky. This defense is easily the worst they've had in the Tomlin era. It's hard to find 3 wins remaining on the schedule, which would mean the first year Aaron Rodgers is a Pittsburgh Steeler ends up being the first year Mike Tomlin has a losing record in the NFL. Would be quite the way to end the season, especially after starting the season, obviously with a winning record and winning games early on.
Which I have a streak, Austin, of predicting every year is going to be the year that Mike Tomlin loses that streak. And I did predict it again this year. So I'm not jinxing anything. Let's see if it happens. But when we talk about what's at stake, so is this just a streak of never having had a losing record that's at stake? Or do you think there's more to this? Because if the scenario you painted actually plays out, and let's say they finish 8-9, maybe it even goes worse, and they're 7-10, and they have a losing record, and they don't make the playoffs, are we finally at the point where we say, you know what, it's time. It's just time for a natural break. What's your plan? You're going to run it back with 43-year-old Aaron Rodgers next season? Or are you just like, no, the streak is what's at stake, but let's be honest, Tomlin's not going anywhere?
I think the streak is obviously at stake, and that's a big part of it. And I think talking to Steelers fans, even editor-in-chief here at The Ringer, Ben Glicksman, it's hard to put my head in their headspace of like they're really frustrated with Mike Tomlin because they haven't won a playoff game since what, 2018 or
16, I think.
2016. They haven't won a playoff game since 2016.
The other teams in that group, by the way, Austin, who haven't won a playoff game since 2016: Bears, Panthers, Cardinals, Raiders, Dolphins, and Broncos. That's it. So it's not, now they've made the playoffs more, but that's not a good group to be, with right now.
So I do think Steelers fans are frustrated.
Welcome back to the Ringer Sunday pregame right here on the FanDuel Sports Network. Of course, for our friends on YouTube, John Jastremski, Cousin Sal, Joe House, and the sharp-dressed Anthony Dabbundo, who loves his Colts bomber jacket. Another monstrous week for your boys, AD. Happy Thanksgiving. It's a pleasure to see you. How are you, good sir?
I'm doing well. I'm glad we got all the intriguing games out of the way because now we have 25 minutes to talk more about the AFC South than you ever thought imaginable.
Hey, I'm here for it because guess what? In the 1 o'clock window, the juiciest game of the day is the Colts taking on the Houston Texans. This line was at 4.5. It's now down to 3. AD, are we worried about Daniel Jones and his fibia? Are we worried about this line movement working against your team? What's the vibe? What's the mood going into this game?
Yeah, the vibes are not good. I mean, I watched the practice drills. I was messaging with a friend who's a reporter for the Colts, and it's like, it doesn't look good at practice. It's a concern. And honestly, if you go back and rewatch the Chiefs game, there were signs that they weren't really trying to push the ball down the field. So that concerns me too. Like, the Houston's really good against play action. They can take away with their secondary the deep stuff the Colts like to do, force them to be really methodical. And then is Jones close to 100%? I don't know. Anthony Richardson not being healthy, Riley Leonard not being very good. Are they playing him even though he's not 100%? All these things, factor into having major questions. And really, I think the Colts defense is going to be the key to this game, to keeping them in check, to keeping them within the ability to grind out a close win.
Usually a staple for you, a Texan under.
Yep.
It may not be a wise wager this week, but the audience is dying to know, AD. Texan under, 44.5, that's a play.
It's a play. Yes, of course. I mean, I'm not good for much on this show, but I am good for that. And, we've had a good year with these bets, 8-3 to the under this year. I've joked that, like, the most famous battle in sports right now is the Houston offense versus the goal line. And honestly, the Colts secondary is one of the best in the league right now. I truly believe that. They forced Mahomes to be so methodical, to grind every first down. You couldn't hit big plays against the Colts defense. So I think it's going to be really tough for Houston, who can't really run the ball, to try to continue to get offense here. I mean, I know Stroud's back, but a multi-week concussion, the history suggests these players don't come back and play quite as well. So I like the under. as is tradition, 44.5. It was 46.5. It's been bet down. I still like it. We go under for that one.
I'm not buying this, JJ. I know our boy Tony Tokens here loves his Colts. Look at him fresh with the jacket that the big bully of the school stole from him in middle school and got it back somehow. And now he's wearing it proud. He knows the Colts are winning this game. Come on, Dabbundo. Gun to your head. You're taking Colts.
Yes, I am. I do think so. I think the biggest key is just red zone efficiency. We're number 2 in the league, and they're 32nd in the league in red zone efficiency. I think that's the biggest difference. So if they're taking field goals and we're punching in enough touchdowns, JT maybe breaks a big run, then that changes the game.
All right.
No concern for you, Sal, with this Daniel Jones injury, because wise wager, I was stunned when I'm going through the card. I'm like, wow, Sal's on the Colts here. Maybe influence hanging out with Dabbundo on Wednesdays. I thought maybe it was a Dabbundo pick when I saw in the Ringer 107. No. Can't be a Dabbundo pick when you're going and making it for your wise wager here.
No. I'm going to get the jacket too. I like it. I think too much value was taken out of Houston, and now it's 3, and you get it at 2.5 in some spots. I think we're going to be celebrating Dabbundo.
I mean, they were +6 at home to Buffalo last week.
Right.
Now they're 3 in Indy.
Different quarterback, though, AD.
Yes, but, I mean, the Colts are a more well-rounded team than the Bills, right?
They are, but they don't have Josh Allen at quarterback.
Right.
So a lot of moving parts there.
You watch it. House knows it.
I'm a lone wolf on this game. I feel like I'm picking against the Colts like every single week, though. So that's good news for you.
You're not a lone wolf. A lot of people everybody I follow that talks about this stuff has taken Houston all week.
We have a poll up too, right? I think.
The YouTube channel, great job by this Jack Wilson and the crew. They have the results for this poll, and I believe it's 55-45 at the moment for the Texans.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. If you go by the public outcry, I would have thought mine would be the bet that everybody was laughing at, but that's pretty close.
But one of the storylines of the week has just been, will the Colts blow the division?
Right.
That's one of the big trend lines. Now the Eagles
if there's a team, though, AD, that would scare you as far as yucking up the division, is it more so Houston or is it more so Jacksonville?
Well, Jacksonville has the extra game. They have the easier schedule. Colts haven't won there since I was in middle school. So that's a bit of a challenge for us. I mean, they haven't really been able to put together a good 4 quarters there. But, I mean, Houston, I think, has the higher ceiling because if they can get any of this passing game figured out, like with their defense, they're a much higher ceiling. Like if they played Jacksonville tomorrow, Houston would be the favorite to beat them. But that being said, Houston still has to play Kansas City next week. So, like, their schedule is considerably tougher. The Jags still have 2 Titan games, although today could be a tricky one for them. I'm more afraid, I think, of Houston in, like, 1 game, but because of the way the schedule breaks, probably the Jags are more likely.
All right. This is the marquee game of the late afternoon window. I'm glad you have a play on it. Buffalo was laying 3.5. It actually has moved now to 3. Taking on a Steeler team. We mentioned the uncertainty with Daniel Jones. There's a whole lot of uncertainty with Aaron Rodgers as far as these fractures in his non-throwing wrist and how exactly he's going to be able to throw the football remains to be seen. AD, Buffalo without both tackles. That Deion Dawkins injury is an enormous, enormous deal. I thought for sure I was going to be on Buffalo all week. Now I am laying off the game. You, sir, or not? What's the play for Bills and Steelers on Sunday?
Yeah, I think Pittsburgh's very live here. I mean, when you look at the way Pittsburgh plays defense, it comes down to whether or not they can get pressure because the coverage has been very up and down. The linebackers are not great, especially in coverage. You can pick on them, especially over the middle. But if you're able to get pressure from the front and man up on the back, Buffalo is probably the one team you want to play right now. Like traditionally, it was always like you can't play man against Josh Allen, but with how limited these receivers are, and now that his O-line is banged up and really problematically so, that's a problem against Highsmith and Watt. Highsmith returns. I think that the Pittsburgh D-line can just kind of wreck this game, make it a nightmare for Josh Allen. And on the other side, we've seen Buffalo have problems with tackling all year. Second level, third level defense. They can't tackle. They can't get off blocks. That's all Pittsburgh is. They're going to get the ball out to Washington, get the ball out to Gainwell, quick stuff, neutralize their pass rush, and then turn this into a coin flip game. So it feels like Pittsburgh is the play here. I know that it came down off of 3.5, so maybe I would just take some money line here. I like the Steelers in this one.
I'm glad you brought that up, AD. To me, at this point, House, if you can't find a 3.5 in the market, just take the Steelers to win the game if you like them, right?
Of course, yeah. And I mean, it's a perfect spot. AD just broke it down. That this situation for Buffalo with their inability to stop the run, it sets up very nice for exactly the script that Pittsburgh imagines.
What's the line here if it's Mason Rudolph? Because I feel like this is the same concern as you would have betting the Colts game. Like, Daniel Jones might just be too much pain. We could see him out at half or before. Aaron Rodgers, I give him crap all the time. Multiple broken bones in his left wrist. That might bleed 3 or 4 plays and he's out. He's a gamer for stepping up.
What's the Steelers special, Sal?
9-1. Bills first half, Steelers to win the game. You get 9-1.
I think I might get him bored.
Yeah, do it.
We're due to hit one, aren't we?
It's got to.
We've only had one all year, right?
Yeah, but that was like 8-1. So we're you're losing a little bit of money, but we'll get it right back here.
There's going to be at least one more.
Yep.
At least one more. Okay, AD. Jacksonville, Tennessee. Your boy right here is in a battle with Joe House for Man's Best Bet trophy. I held my nose. I took the Titans. He took the Browns. I took the Titans. A couple of disgusting underdogs, but a couple of juicy plays. 1, can I get you on board with the Titans? 2, if you want to make a play maybe in a different direction here, you have a player prop we like.
Well, when I called Sal to talk about the Ringer 107 on, what was that, Tuesday or Wednesday, we were talking.
You called me on Tuesday. I called you back like Thursday or Friday, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And it was a 30-second call. Just Tennessee, Jets, Colts. All right, we got it. Talk to you on Friday. Hang up. You don't want to spend too much time on the phone. But the one thing we both agreed on, I think, or maybe I convinced him of, is that Tennessee was the bet. So we're on the Titans in the 107, which means it has about a 48% chance of winning if history is any indication. But literally, this is going to be like a nice stay on the beach for Cam Ward because he has played the toughest schedule of opposing defenses in the NFL, and he has finally put together back-to-back good performances passing. They've been throwing the ball more, which is good because they can't run it, so they're just burning downs trying to run the ball. Passing it more, and now they get to face a secondary, which is bottom 7 in the league to remove turnovers. I think this is a huge opportunity for him to put together another good performance, keep this game close. And to their credit, as bad as they are, they're 1-10, we have seen them cover the spread 3 times in a row. So it could be that the market has finally bottomed out on Tennessee, and we're able to come back here on the Titans.
I like it. And Cam Ward was spunky in that second half. Very, very spunky against an outstanding Seattle defense. I know Jacksonville forces turnovers. Take care of the football. Trevor Lawrence is going to give you a couple of gifts. Titans alive to go and win this one. I want that on record.
Bet over 203.5, I think it was, yards. For Ward, that line has been like teetering back and forth, but I think this is a good passing game script for him.
We're not going to be surprised, right, with the result either way. Like, Trevor.
No, it's in fact, I think from myself and House on these 2 stinky underdogs, you're either going to get an outright win, or House and I are going to be looking at the games at around 4:00 Eastern, saying, "Oh my goodness, I can't believe I bet on either Shedeur Sanders, or I can't believe I bet on the Titans."
That's right.
It's going to be one of those where they lose by 20, and you're just like, "Wow, I get what I deserve."
I'll be fine with whatever outcome befalls them. I honestly like the over in that Jacksonville, Tennessee game. I do think that Mike McCoy, the big thing that is driving this difference with the Titans team is we got rid of the Callahan car fire. I mean, we can't, set the desk on fire with Callahan anymore. McCoy, he had some time. They've been playing better since their bye because they came up with, something sensible for Cam Ward. They have a young team. They're trying. I like the idea of an over in that game in particular.
AD, I'm going to warn you. The United family plays from the wise guys have not gone particularly great this year. Last year, we were money. When we were united on a game, we hit on a whole lot of them. This year, that has not been the case. We are totally unified in taking the Giants plus 7.5. I'm just throwing it out there now. I don't know what the play is for you on this particular game, but are you going to, dare I say, make it 5 for 5?
Assuming you guys are all taking the 7.5, 7?
That's right.
Yeah, we are. Yeah, I am. We are on it. It was another one of the ugly dogs that Sal and I briefly discussed on Wednesday. And I just think that ultimately the New England defense is the vulnerable unit here. And they've been the vulnerable unit all year long. Like the DVOA metrics still don't like this defense. You can still attack them, especially over the middle. But now we start to have some questions about the New England offense. Because of the injuries to the offensive line, Cincinnati, who has gotten no pressure on any quarterback all year long, got a ton of pressure on Drake May in that game and really kind of made life a little more difficult for the Patriots offense. And so we know that the Giants can get pressure. They can make that game really uncomfortable, especially in the goal line situations where New England has struggled to run the ball in those kind of spots. It makes it more difficult for New England to win by margin than the market's indicating here. So yeah, I'm on the Giants with you guys. Let's make it a 5 for 5. I think last week was the Saints, right?
Oh, the Saints.
Saints were bad news.
So now we like the Giants, a much better team, of course, than the Saints. I mean,
you know what though? The Giants cover. That's the bottom line, House. They have been a stinkfest of a team all year. They have invented ways to lose. But if the script is going to continue to be the same as it's been for this team week in and week out, they will be right in the game. They'll probably have a double-digit lead, and Drake May will come storming back, and the Patriots will win by 3. Perfect. Everybody wins.
It is fine. They cover against good teams. I mean, I hate to mention it, but they did lose to the Saints, which is still one of the.
If the game was only 3 quarters, they'd be like 7-5.
You know what,
right
though,
in the
JJ?
playoff hunt.
I like this coach, though, this Kafka. He's not laying down. He's not like, well, I'm a lame interim coach. He knows this Giants job is as attractive as the Patriots job was last year, right? You got some studs coming back on both sides of the ball. I think he might have sealed his fate, though, not kicking that field goal to go up 6. I didn't even know your take on that against Detroit.
Oh, I had no problem with it, to be honest with you.
You were okay
None.
going for it?
None. Right. It's funny. The analytics community hated my stance on the Eagle-Bear game from Friday, but the analytics community loved my stance in the Giant-Lion game. So it just goes to show I am very fair and balanced around here, okay?
Well, also, it has nothing to do with analytics going for 2 in that Bears-Eagles game. Dabbundo will tell you. That's just
strategy.
There's no such thing as momentum. That's what I was told. There's no such thing. I beg to differ,
I have decided to opt out of all discourse surrounding going for 2, down 9 points. It's not worth fighting the fight. But you're going to see more teams start to do what the Eagles did. That's all I'll say. Whether you agree with that or not.
That's fine. They will continue to be wrong in that spot. That's fine. They can continue to do it, and they can continue to be wrong.
You are my guy. Shout out to Greg Olson. He is doing the yeoman's work, trying to bring the modern NFL into the world of our living rooms and anger every fan in America. I think I was at a bar for the game on Friday with friends, and the people at the table next to me were not pleased.
I'm sure. As someone who had the Eagles in a variety of teases and parlays, the feeling was mutual, buddy boy.
Yeah, well, they were dead before they got off the bus. They had 3 first downs in the first half, so I don't think that was what decided the game.
That is fair. I will counter, and I will allow that to be the case. AD, it's wise wager time. You have had a tremendous season. It's not Texan under. I was waiting for it. I thought we were going to get it. We're going in a different direction, oh, good sir.
I need to beat the allegation. Like, if I go, 12-5 at the end of the year, which would be a great year, I'd be very happy. But like 11 of the wins were Texan under, then it won't be remembered.
You think it puts an asterisk next to your performance? So
he's got so many asterisks. You can't even see his name. There are so many asterisks around it. But yeah,
I only come in for the last half hour. All these things that are being lobbed my way. That's fine. But I will say, I like a lot of unders this week. It could get really dicey. I'm gonna just have to sit there and hope that that nobody ever gets to the red zone. It's gonna be a lot of fun. I have 4 or 5 separate unders on the board today. A lot of them weather related. I'm not betting. I saw somebody commented, not betting the over in Cleveland, San Francisco, by the way, because there is wind, no snow in that game. However, I like under 43.5 in the night game tonight. Look, it doesn't really matter who Denver plays, whether they play the Chiefs or whether they play the Raiders or whether they play any random bad team, the Jets, the Giants. They're just going to be in these close games. And I think that Washington's defense, they're a little bit healthier off the bye. We know that they can try to run the ball. But what's really been lacking for me when I watch Washington's offense, there's no explosiveness. And you can't really get big plays against this Denver team. They're giving up the lowest explosive play rate in the league. So what I think happens here is Denver, we know how inconsistent their offense is. We know how cautious they're going to be with a lead. I think they'll get a lead here, but then I think it's going to be long, methodical Washington drives that don't result in touchdowns. And then I think Denver's going to struggle to separate like they do against everybody, and you're going to end up getting an ugly game tonight. So under 43.5, Denver, Washington.
I mean, I'm not going to fight you on that, especially after watching the Denver offense and then seeing House's Commander offense in person 2 weeks ago in Madrid. Wouldn't expect a whole lot of points. On that note, AD, are the Commanders live in the game?
I think so. I mean, certainly. I think if you like the under, like you have to think that they're going to be in the game late. And Denver, I mean, how many teams have they truly blown out this year? They blew out the Bengals at home. They blew out Dallas at home. I think that's it.
That number's too high. I know that in NFL, they don't like to put over-unders in the 30s, but if anything deserves it, it's this Denver-Washington game, not mid-40s, right, House?
All 4 of Denver's away games have been unders, and they've been significantly under. Both these teams coming off a bye. There's some incredible trends of both teams off the bye to the under, and the fact that Washington has held offenses like this Broncos offense to 16 points is the highest number of points they've allowed, and that was to the Dolphins. I think the under is absolutely a great angle here.
I have to bring this up, AD, because your Colts are playing this monstrous game. Kansas City lost on Thursday. You expressed concern with Buffalo. Who's going to the Super Bowl in the AFC? Honestly, the Denvers and New Englands, we have questions. The big dogs, we have questions. Who in the world do we like here?
James Madison.
Virginia?
They're not going to make it. Yeah.
The Titans? Can the Titans reel off 6 in a row? I don't know.
Dolphins, 55-1 to make the playoffs, baby.
If you look at the odds right now at FanDuel, I don't remember a time where it's been this wide open in the AFC, ever. Because there's always been, in the last 20 years of football, there's always been multiple top quarterbacks. Right now, you've got plus 460 Indy, plus 470 New England, plus 500 Denver, 550 Buffalo, 8-1 Baltimore, 8-1 KC. That's the entire playoff projected field, 6 teams, all within, 8% odds of winning the conference of each other? That's an insanely balanced field. And if I had to pick a team, I think I would still take the Kansas City Chiefs. I know it sounds crazy.
No, I get it. You got to run the table, though, probably.
They have to run the table.
What are they to make difficult. The playoffs? Minus 138 or something?
House gave it out on the show earlier.
Yeah. What was it, House?
I don't remember because I put it in a parlay. I don't know if I had.
Yeah, but House, by that logic, if you like them to make the playoffs, I feel like you got to take 8-1 to win the conference, don't you?
Oh, right now, of course. Yeah, you're not going to get a better price than that, I don't think.
Their 3 toughest games are all at home. Houston, L.A., Denver. They go to Tennessee, go to Vegas, win 5 in a row. They'll be right there.
There's no one
to trust. But they lose all those tiebreakers. They lose them to everybody at the moment.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, we'll see if that changes with the Chargers, but a whole lot of tiebreakers working against them. Let's take a look at the Ringer 107 for this week before we say goodbye. Not a great start for Bodega Locks. Decided between Philly and Green Bay. We chose poorly. A nice Green Bay win for Bill and House. Not so great on that Philly-Dallas tease as the Eagles let them down. And you guys have Baltimore. Wow, you guys like the Ravens.
That's me. I just thought it was a get-right game for them, Cincinnati. I didn't think Burrow would look like he belongs in Canton right away. My goodness.
Well, how about the Raven offense with the way they were just turning the ball over,
Awful.
Sal? That, to me, was the bigger problem with that game.
Yeah, absolutely. Too many.
Likely any time for me, JJ. That's how my Thursday night went.
I mean, what did we have? We had, another guy drops the ball at the goal line, right? You can't win a game. You almost can't win a game when that happens, right?
Impossible.
Otherwise, they would have been up 13-7, would have changed the tone. But yeah, Ravens have problems.
Coulda, shoulda, woulda. And remember, Ravens are going to miss the postseason. That's going to do it for this loaded Week 13 Ringer Sunday pregame. Sal, rest the vocals. Get the $4 ready. Simmons will see you on Sunday night. House and Dabbundo, I will see you guys Monday right here on the FanDuel Sports Network for East Coast Bias with all the reactions, all the takes for Week 13. For Cousin Sal, Joe House, Anthony Dabbundo, Raheem Palmer, John Jastremski signing off. Great job by our New York and our Los Angeles studios. We'll see you next week. Sal will see you for Guest Alliance, and we'll see you for East Coast Bias. Be good, everybody. Bang.
Nice. Good job.